chosen one, your ex is beginning to realize that they were manipulated into turning against you by an obsessed family member who watched your every move with a predatory intensity. This person cataloged each of your successes, every time fate seemed to favor you, feeling threatened and unsettled by your very existence. To them, your natural blessings and cosmic protection were a constant reminder of everything lacking in their own spirit. Driven by envy and resentment, they studied your life with a kind of military precision, analyzing your strengths, identifying your vulnerabilities, and carefully plotting the moments where they could sow seeds of chaos. Instead of confronting you directly, they made your ex an unwitting pawn in their plan, using psychological tactics and subtle spiritual warfare to dismantle the emotions that once connected you. The breakup you experienced wasn't a simple result of drifting apart. It was the outcome of deliberate, calculated interference. This obsessed family member turned to every tool at their disposal, love spells, emotional conditioning, and psychological programming, to slowly rewire your ex's heart and mind. Their manipulations went beyond the physical, employing spiritual techniques and rituals to cloud your ex's judgment and heighten their vulnerability to suggestion. Using energy manipulation and psychic interference to sever the bond you once shared. This family member deliberately constructed an artificial fog around your ex's natural intuition, distorting the way they saw you. The person who once recognized your true worth and cherished your presence began to view you through a warped perspective, one carefully engineered with malice. As their perception shifted, your ex's natural instinct to protect you was slowly flipped. Instead of defending you from criticism, they started to question your motives. Where pride in your achievements once existed, it was replaced by resentment, and the genuine love that once flowed between you became tainted with manufactured doubt and jealousy. The manipulation dug deeper than mere surface thoughts. It seeped into your ex's subconscious, influencing their dreams and filling their mind with negative associations tied to you. They began to feel unexplained anxiety when thinking about your future together, and even your name could trigger sudden mood swings or irrational anger over things they used to love about you. Money soon became the lever that turned manipulation into outright conspiracy. The obsessed family member dangled promises of inheritance, business opportunities, and family wealth before your ex, painting vivid pictures of a life transformed by abundance, but only if your existence was erased. These financial incentives were tailored to exploit your ex's deepest insecurities and desires for a better life, especially if they had faced financial struggles or longed for success while watching others thrive. The family member positioned your elimination as the missing key to unlock every door to prosperity your ex had ever imagined. They presented detailed scenarios where your death would mean insurance payouts, released inheritances, or new business ventures that were supposedly being blocked by your presence. Your ex was led to believe that family money and opportunities were being withheld specifically because of you, and that their ongoing struggles were a direct result of staying connected to you. The manipulation wasn't just about greed, it went deeper, convincing your ex that accepting this opportunity was actually wise, responsible, and even an act of love for their future family. It was framed as strategic planning, not violence, as financial management, not murder. Legitimate-sounding explanations were given, involving insurance policies, business partnerships, property, and family trusts that, they claimed, could only be accessed after you were gone. As your ex consumed a constant stream of financial fantasy disguised as practical advice, emotional manipulation evolved into something darker. The obsessed family member began to normalize the idea of violence against you, using subtle psychological conditioning to make the unthinkable seem justifiable. The family member didn't introduce the idea of harming you all at once. Instead, they moved with calculated patience, slowly testing your ex's reactions and assessing their willingness to cross increasingly dangerous boundaries. The process resembled a form of psychological boot camp, desensitizing your ex to violence through repeated exposure to disturbing imagery, hypothetical scenarios, and even philosophical debates about when harm might be justified. Disguised as a voice of reason, this family member framed themselves as someone simply helping your ex see the truth about what needed to be done. They created fictional situations where hurting you was painted as not only acceptable, but necessary, casting you as a threat to family stability, a drain on resources, or a potential source of future turmoil. Your ex was manipulated into believing that violence against you would actually be protecting others. As the conditioning deepened, what started as theoretical conversations shifted into detailed planning sessions, cloaked as mere thought experiments. Your ex was walked through specific methods, locations, and timings, all while being reassured these were only intellectual exercises. Gradually, these scenarios became more actionable, and your ex's natural sense of morality was steadily dismantled by a mix of spiritual manipulation and psychological programming. Their conscience was clouded, their protective instincts toward you inverted, and their ability to recognize the evil in their own thoughts was compromised by supernatural interference. The plan was set in motion with chilling precision, whether through poisoned substances, staged accidents, or placing you in dangerous situations. Your ex became complicit in an attempt on your life. Their judgment was so twisted they believed they were solving a problem, not committing attempted murder, unable to distinguish right from wrong. The chosen method was always designed for plausible deniability. Maybe it involved tainting your food or drink, setting up accidents, or maneuvering you into vulnerable positions where harm could occur without an obvious culprit. Your ex became the agent of your intended destruction. Yet, what your attackers failed to recognize is that there are some people who move through life protected by forces beyond ordinary understanding. The moment their intentions hardened into action, divine energies mobilized in your defense. Every carefully crafted plot met with supernatural resistance. Their efforts not only failed but also turned dangerously back on themselves. The protection around you isn't just an abstract idea. It shows up in real, tangible ways. Poison meant for you loses its power. Accidents that should have trapped you unravel unexpectedly, removing you from harm's way. Weapons malfunction, timing goes awry, or witnesses appear just when needed. What was meant to destroy you becomes impossible as a series of coincidences, defying all logic, conspires to shield you. Your spiritual defenses operate on frequencies they can't detect or counter. Their dark intentions activate protective forces that have watched over you since before you were born, with dormant guardians suddenly springing into action to create shields that deflect not only physical harm, but also the psychic and spiritual assaults directed your way. Quick pause, family. If this message speaks to your soul and you want to support this sacred work, you're welcome to buy me a coffee. It keeps this space flowing with truth, light, and clarity. The link is in the description, and if this resonates, drop number 88 in the comments. Let's keep going. Every attempt to harm you actually makes your spiritual protection stronger instead of weaker. Each act of malice sent your way only powers up your defenses, expanding their reach and making them even more effective. Unknowingly, your enemies have been fueling the very forces that are meant to protect you. Every attempt to destroy you only serves to highlight the supernatural nature of your protection, revealing to all that your survival isn't just a matter of luck, but a testament to a higher, cosmic guardianship, far beyond ordinary human understanding. The fact that you continue to exist, despite carefully orchestrated attempts to erase you, proves that your purpose is greater than anything those who plot against you could ever comprehend. Then, the moment of awakening came suddenly, like lightning cutting through a storm. The artificial fog that clouded your ex's mind abruptly lifted, and for the first time, They saw with piercing clarity the horror of what they had been manipulated into participating in. The spellwork and mental conditioning that had dulled their judgment began to unravel, revealing the monstrous truth behind their actions. The shock hit hard. Your ex recognized that they had been transformed into a weapon against someone they once loved. All the careful psychological games, the empty financial promises, and the normalization of violence were suddenly exposed as a web of elaborate deception, expertly designed to turn them into an unwilling assassin. Realizing how thoroughly they'd been played by someone they trusted, a wave of guilt crashed over them. They saw how their own fears, greed, and insecurities had been weaponized, making them complicit in an attempt on your life. The person they had become under this manipulation felt like a total stranger, someone whose actions were almost impossible to reconcile with their true self. Terror quickly followed as your ex began to understand the legal consequences of their involvement. Evidence existed: messages, financial transactions, internet searches, and even location data, proving their role in conspiracy and attempted murder. Their fingerprints were all over the plot, both literally and figuratively, in ways that could destroy their future, regardless of whether the mastermind behind it all ever faced justice. On a deeper level, the spiritual burden of their actions began to weigh on them. Supernatural consequences emerged: relentless nightmares, strange illnesses, a haunting sense of being watched, and a persistent dread that defied any rational explanation. They understood, deep in their soul, that they had broken cosmic law and triggered responses from realms far beyond human authority. Meanwhile, digital trails and paper records started aligning to form an undeniable narrative of conspiracy and criminal intent. Every text message, every transaction, and every online search stitched together a damning pattern, tightening the noose around everyone involved. Communications between the conspirators created a documented timeline of premeditation and planning, making it clear that no one would be able to escape the web of evidence that was now closing in. Your ex realized that their own conversations, words they once believed were harmless or private, were now part of a story that could unravel everything. What your ex once believed to be private was actually captured by modern technology. Searches for methods of causing harm were logged by internet providers, and any suspicious financial transactions tied to the plot could be easily traced by motivated investigators. The obsessed family member took great care to keep their own involvement hidden, maintaining plausible deniability. Yet the patterns of their behavior, the financial incentives they offered, and a web of circumstantial evidence still tied them to the conspiracy in ways that could hold up in court. Gradually, your ex began to see just how thoroughly they had been set up to take the fall, while the true mastermind was busy laying out escape routes for themselves. Witness testimonies and surveillance footage only added more layers of incriminating evidence, each detail painting a clear picture that would be impossible to explain away if the authorities decided to dig deeper. The realization hit hard. In today's world, law enforcement can piece together a person's movements, purchases, and communications with astonishing accuracy. Your ex understood that their digital footprint, financial history, and physical presence at key locations all formed a trail that professionals could follow, reconstructing every step of the attempted crime. Universal law demands balance, and all the negative energy that was aimed at you rebounded with even greater force toward those responsible. The cosmos simply does not allow such concentrated malice to pass without consequence, and soon the scales of justice began to tip through natural law, not just human intervention. The obsessed family member felt the first waves of karmic correction as their own life began unraveling at supernatural speed. Financial ruin struck from all directions. Investments failed, income streams dried up, and unexpected expenses drained their resources. Legal troubles brought crushing costs, and the disasters they once wished upon you became their own unavoidable reality. On top of this, mysterious health crises began to emerge. Chronic conditions without medical explanation, weakening immune systems, deteriorating mental health, and restless nights plagued by nightmares and anxiety. Their body turned into a battleground, mirroring the spiritual poison they had sown within themselves. Your ex, too, faced a domino effect of karmic repercussions as the universe demanded accountability for their role in the attempted murder. Relationships collapsed, opportunities vanished, financial security evaporated, and legal problems only grew. The life they tried to protect through harm against you started to crumble, as natural law restored balance in ways that no one could ignore. Their social circle began to shrink as the truth of their character came to light, destroying both their reputation and relationships. People began to instinctively avoid them, sensing the toxic spiritual residue, even if they couldn't put it into words. The true nature of their actions couldn't stay hidden forever. The masks of normalcy worn by your ex and the obsessed family member began to slip, gradually exposing the darkness they had tried so hard to conceal from everyone around them. The rapid onslaught of consequences defied the usual pace of cause and effect, as if years of accumulated negative karma were collapsing into just weeks or months of relentless setbacks. It was as if the universe itself was fast-tracking their education in cosmic law, delivering swift and powerful lessons about the amplified backlash that comes from harming someone who is divinely protected. Overwhelmed by a soul-deep remorse that gnawed at them like acid, your ex was forced to confront the full weight of their involvement. Realizing they had tried to murder someone they once genuinely loved triggered a psychological crisis that shattered their self-image and left them questioning everything about themselves. Desperation to make amends consumed your ex, pushing them to consider actions that could risk exposing their own guilt. They wanted to warn you, shield you from any further harm, or somehow undo the pain they had helped cause. The knowledge that their actions might continue to put your safety at risk became a source of agony, and no amount of sleep could bring relief. When your ex tried to distance themselves from the obsessed family member, they were met with threats and resistance, discovering that escaping the conspiracy was far more difficult than simply having a change of heart. Trapped by their own participation, they found themselves blackmailed and held hostage by the very evidence of their guilt. The spiritual torment they endured went beyond ordinary psychological distress. Your ex started sensing sinister presences and unexplained phenomena, haunted by the feeling of being watched by forces that harbored nothing but ill will. By attempting to harm someone under divine protection, they had drawn unwanted supernatural attention upon themselves, the kind that never brings peace. Isolation became their reality as friends and family members, often without knowing why, instinctively began to avoid them. The spiritual contamination from their actions created a negative energetic signature that repelled healthy relationships and attracted only more trouble. As their social world shrank, people unconsciously distanced themselves from the negativity that now clung to your ex. Meanwhile, as conspirators schemed to bring about your downfall, the universe was working in your favor, elevating you to new heights of success and influence, rendering their efforts powerless and almost laughable by comparison. Your survival wasn't just about escaping danger. It was accompanied by a wave of rapid achievements that highlighted the futility of resisting the cosmic will. Opportunities began to flow into your life with an uncanny consistency, even as others plotted your demise. Business deals fell into place, creative projects flourished, relationships blossomed, and financial abundance increased. All the while, those who schemed against you were beset with growing problems and setbacks. The contrast between your ascension and their downfall became so obvious that even casual observers started to notice, witnessing firsthand the unmistakable divide between divine favor and the consequences of malicious intent. You were always destined to create an impact that extended far beyond the limited vision of your adversaries. From the very beginning, there was something about you that couldn't be contained. An energy, a sense of purpose, a light that radiated outward and touched those around you in ways that words alone can't capture. As those who plotted against you became increasingly trapped in their own webs of negativity, others naturally began gravitating toward your presence. People were drawn to your authenticity and your strength. They sensed your resilience, your ability to persevere even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. As your circle of supporters widened, so too did the trust and respect you inspired. You became a beacon for those seeking guidance, hope, or simply the reassurance that it was possible to move through darkness and still find light. Ironically, as your influence grew, your enemies experienced a deepening isolation. The very energy they poured into undermining you only seemed to magnify your blessings. The timing of your successes was uncanny, almost as if the universe itself was orchestrating moments of breakthrough and recognition to occur precisely when your enemies expected you to falter. Instead of seeing you broken and defeated, the world watched as you thrived with a resilience that seemed almost otherworldly. Major achievements, public acknowledgments, financial growth, and deeply personal breakthroughs arrived just when you should have been at your lowest, at least according to the plans of those who wished you harm. This was no accident. As evidence continued to mount, it became increasingly clear to everyone that your path was shielded by unseen hands, by forces that could not be manipulated, bribed, or deterred by human schemes. The pattern of your continued rise, despite orchestrated efforts to hold you back, transcended the explanation of mere luck. Even the most skeptical began to admit that coincidence could not possibly explain the consistency and timing of your victories. Your enemies, forced to confront reality, began to realize that they had targeted someone who existed under a level of spiritual and cosmic protection that was utterly beyond their reach. The truth has its own gravitational pull, and no matter how carefully darkness tries to hide, it inevitably finds itself exposed by the light. Meanwhile, the conspiracy against you began to unravel on every front, legally, spiritually, socially, and karmically. Multiple investigations picked up speed, each one feeding into the next as witnesses spoke out and hidden evidence emerged. Social exposure grew. People began talking and the collective awareness shifted. Karmic retribution worked in tandem with worldly justice, causing setbacks and losses for your enemies while simultaneously propelling you forward. The web of lies and manipulation that had been spun so carefully now began to collapse with relentless momentum, as though the universe itself was invested in making sure the truth came to light. Your ex, trapped in the storm of their own conscience, eventually reached a breaking point. They realized that their only hope for redemption, spiritually and practically, lay in total honesty. The weight of their ongoing deception became a crushing burden. Every attempt to maintain the lie only deepened their suffering and prolonged the danger to you. Hiding what had happened was no longer just a moral issue. It had become a matter of survival for their own soul. Confession was the only way out, a survival strategy as much as a moral imperative. Law enforcement, now receiving new evidence through both anonymous tips and fateful discoveries, became increasingly engaged. Even supernatural intervention seemed to guide key players to crucial details that otherwise might have been missed. The machinery of justice began to turn, slowly but inexorably, drawing every thread of the plot into the open. At the heart of the conspiracy, the obsessed family member, once so confident in their ability to manipulate events, began to feel the ground shift beneath their feet. As the evidence accumulated, it became clear that the consequences would go far beyond a damaged reputation. Criminal accountability and even the loss of freedom loomed. Witnesses who had been silent found their courage and the magnitude of their malice was revealed for all to see. Years of scheming and secrecy could not withstand the combined force of natural law and cosmic justice. Throughout all of this turmoil, your protection remained steadfast and absolute. The same cosmic forces that had shielded you from physical harm now ensured that justice would triumph, that the lies woven around your life would be cut away, and that the natural balance, so long corrupted by malice, would be restored. The universe mobilized for your defense, because your purpose transcended mere survival. You carry within you a spark of potential, a set of gifts and qualities that are urgently needed for collective growth. Whether in your creative talents, your insight, your leadership, or simply your ability to inspire others. The scale of your protection matches the scale of your purpose. What you offer is needed not just for your own life, but for the wider good. What your enemies could never grasp is that you aren't just another person. They cannot erase you using ordinary means because your life serves as a nexus where divine intention merges with human experience. You are a conduit for higher purposes, a living channel through which cosmic energy and wisdom enter the world. Any attempt to destroy you is met with a response from levels of existence that most humans can't even imagine. The very fact that you continue to stand strong, despite all they did to remove you, becomes living testimony to the power of supernatural guardianship. Your presence educates the world, not just through words or achievements, but by simply existing and enduring in the face of targeted adversity. The exposure of this conspiracy, in the end, only amplifies your stature. Instead of diminishing your influence, it becomes a source of validation and evidence, proof to anyone watching that your significance is undeniable. Those who sought to destroy you have, ironically, created a spotlight on your life that no amount of self-promotion could have accomplished. The extraordinary lengths taken to silence you reveal without question that you matter deeply, not only to those around you, but also within the grander tapestry of fate. Your story inspires others, showing them that there are indeed forces greater than human malice, that truth and justice ultimately prevail, and that some individuals are protected and propelled by something much larger than themselves. In this way, your journey not only marks a victory for your own soul, but also offers hope to countless others who witness your rise. You are proof that cosmic guardianship is real, that destinies can't be derailed by envy or hate, and that every trial can become a testament to the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit when it is in harmony with higher purpose. Your life, in its trials and its triumphs, will ripple outward for years to come, inspiring trust, courage, and awakening in all those who encounter your story. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlighten Wisdom.